Amy Masters, welcome to Upstate Dispatch.
Hi, Jenny.
I interviewed you for Upstate Dispatch in December 2016, 5 years ago. How has your pandemic been?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I think that apart from it being so scary in the beginning and just being like afraid that we were all going to die, it has ended up being like an incredibly productive period. I've been able to just kind of be up here in my studio and get work done and not be distracted by, normal distractions of friends and going out. So in that sense, it's been kind of an amazing time. I was telling you earlier too that, at first we all kind of I came up here with my husband and my younger son who was not able to go back to college. And so we had this like very kind of sweet bubble up here where we were getting to spend this time together that we normally wouldn't have had. And so, we had this very, very quiet little rhythm that we got going where we were each able to kind of do what we needed to do. And then we would come together and have meals. And it was kind of special in a way that I never would have anticipated. And like I said, in terms of my artwork, I was incredibly productive and continue to be. So
that was one of my next questions. How more or less productive were you during quarantine?
I think because I did not have other distractions, the pandemic just kind of allowed the rest of the world to kind of live like artists live, where we're just kind of isolated and we do our work and that's it. And so I felt kind of validated in doing what I normally do. And again, because I didn't feel the pull to do anything else, I just worked. And so I've been able to produce an incredible body of work over the past year and a half.
I've heard a lot from both farmers and artists who have similar lives. They're both existing in isolation anyway. And a lot of them are introverted, would you say?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists are introverted. So did you go back and forth to New York City or did you stay here?
I've been up here pretty much until I would say the late fall, maybe beginning of last winter. I started to go back and forth. And it was weird. I went back probably at one point at the end of last summer to just kind of make sure the apartment was still in one piece and kind of dust the cobwebs off of the plants and water them. But other than that, I've been mostly up here. Some of the kind of nastier winter weeks, I went back to the city just so that I didn't have to shovel the driveway. But other than that, I've been kind of up here most of the time.
It is a hard life up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't realize that you have to do a lot of physical labor unless you get somebody else to do it. Like you have to mow your lawn if you have, you have to garden, you have to plow the driveway, you have to scrape off your car every morning. There is a lot of physical work and a lot of, I do find that kind of meditative though, all that physical stuff.
Our house, we do have like a heater, but we basically heat the house with two wood stoves. And so that's like constant in the winter time, hauling the wood inside and starting the fires and keeping them going. And, I take real pride in like waking up in the morning and there's still like embers from the night before, it's like, yay me. But it's exhausting,
It is. It's a constant weight. You don't realize how easy life is in the city and how spoiled
Absolutely.
you are until you come
Yeah,
up
yeah,
here and
yeah,
you've got a dead
yeah.
fire in the morning and you can't warm the wood stove up because if you put the hairdryer inside the wood stove, the embers fly everywhere and the ash
I've
flies.
never done that to warm it up.
Yeah, because
It's a good idea.
otherwise the smoke won't go up the chimney if it's not warm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it stinks and it goes into your house.
yeah.
So 5 years ago when I interviewed you, your work was very different. What were you working on 5 years ago? Mostly printmaking.
Yeah, I think I had just started printmaking after not doing it since college. So that was something I did a lot when I was in college many years ago, and then came back to it around that time. And I just couldn't get enough of it. I love the process of printmaking. I love the all the procedural things that you have to do to get it to work well, and I love the magic of it, that you don't really know what it's going to look like until you literally pull the paper off of the plate. And then when the pandemic hit, I work out of a printmaking studio in Manhattan Graphic Center, and I have a wonderful teacher there, and kind of a little cohort of printmaking friends, and so when the pandemic hit, they shut down the studio, and so when I was up here without access to that kind of thing, I just dove back into painting full time. So I think, that's changed, that now I'm just primarily painting. I do some printmaking once in a while, but mostly I've just been painting nonstop.
What do you prefer?
It's so different. That's such a good question. It's so different. I mean, I've tried at times to see if I can't link the two things, and I really can't. It's like they operate on different parts of my brain. It's like printmaking is very procedurally based for me. At least I know there are some more experimental printmakers. I'm not one of them. When I do etching, and it's like you have to follow like steps in a certain order or else it doesn't work. And with painting, maybe also because I've been doing it longer, I'm just more experimental. I don't know, it's just different. It's just really, it's more immediate, painting. It's like you put the color on the canvas and there it is. Whereas printmaking, you have to stick stuff in etching baths and you have to wait for things. And the process of inking the plate takes a long, it's very labor intensive for me.
So this body of work that you've produced during the pandemic in the last year, all about the little wooden sculpture of a house that you were gifted. Tell us about that.
So about 2 years ago, I would say, a dear old friend sent me, just total surprise, this little wooden, it was a nightlight, but it was just like this little block of wood, a little wooden sculpture, and you turn the crank and like this very soft little light came from out of the bottom of it. And it's just like this magical little thing. I don't know. I just loved this thing. And I just started kind of ruminating on the idea of house and that kind of iconic form, of just like the pointy roof and the straight walls. And I love that form. And it's so relatable, like everybody recognizes, oh, that's house. And so I just started creating a bunch of work around it. It started in the printmaking studio, actually, where I did a bunch of etchings, and then when I came up here, I thought, I'm just going to bust it up a little bit. And I started abstracting the shape a little bit and just started doing house paintings. And some of them were just the iconic house, and then some of them were sections of the shape, and some of them then started to include a landscape or other elements. And I have not stopped. It's been like a year and a half, and it's like the thing I paint all the time now.
It's great. I love them. My favorite is House and Snow, oil on linen. Can you show us that? Because you're in your studio and this is a great treat.
Oh yeah, here I have it. Here, I'll go grab it. So it's this one, yes?
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
what I noticed about this painting is the tiny little window. It's only got one solitary window. So
Yeah.
I feel like you're painting our isolation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, like this painting, and then I have another one, which is a bigger one that's kind of that same ilk.
Yeah, they've all got just the one window.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
They really were about isolation and just what it feels like to just kind of be sort of alone in this time that we're in. It has been a very isolating time, and it's just us against, or it's just me against, like, the elements of the world, especially like the pandemic. It's like all you can do to shelter yourself, right? To kind of protect yourself. So the house as shelter became like this very kind of poignant image, as the more I did them, who would have thought we would be in a pandemic? And
Yeah.
yet the work was so relatable to that.
Yes. I'm doing more and more of these interviews for the YouTube channel, and I can't wait to see what other artists have been doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the gallery in Fleischmanns. How did that come about?
So my husband, Ted Sheridan, he's an architect, and he's started to do quite a bit of work up here, which is great. And he has worked with Mark Birman, who lives up here, has lived longtime resident, and has a bunch of properties up here. And so he and Ted have done some projects together and are doing some projects together. And so that's how I came to meet Mark. And he has had this building on Main Street, and the top floor of the building are Airbnb apartments for, I guess, skiers and people who come up here recreationally. And the downstairs space was just this empty space that Mark always wanted to turn into a gallery. And when he met me and found out I was an artist, he just kept pushing, to see if I would be interested in running this thing. And at first I really just thought I couldn't. I don't know, fear, whatever it is, gets in the way. And but he kept pursuing me and this idea that we could do this. And at one point I just thought, all right, this is being placed in my life for a reason. And I shouldn't be so afraid, and I should just see where it takes us. And so I agreed to give it a year of my life, if to try to get this thing off the ground and see where it goes. And ironically, the pandemic has brought so many people up to this area, and I just feel like, oh, well, maybe this is why all these things are converging at once, that maybe there is kind of a reason why this is in my life right now.
There's a lot of people moving up here. I mean, everybody who doesn't have to go back to the city anymore can just work remotely, and they're gonna need stuff to do. So this is
Absolutely.
perfect opportunity to fill what they call missing teeth in main streets where, you know, boarded up shop fronts. And it's great. And Fleischmanns in particular really needs something. It really.
Yeah, I think that I think people have discovered that they don't need to be tied to like a physical office space anymore. I think it's really kind of freed us as a society in a lot of ways. That's really exciting. But we also still have this desire to kind of be around people and go out and do stuff. So, you know, maybe this will provide an outlet, you know?
Yeah, I hope so, because Fleischmanns really needs it. It's
Yeah, me too.
ever since the Painters Gallery closed down. Yeah, that
Yep.
was sad. That was a sad time. Okay, so what artists are you going to be showing in the Fleischmanns Gallery?
The first artist is a dear friend who's a printmaker, a printmaking buddy, Claire Gilliam. She's originally from England and is now here. And she, I believe, initially was trained as a photographer. And I met her doing printmaking. And so she's figured out ways to kind of marry those two things. And her work is just beautiful and interesting and thoughtful. And I'm so excited that she's going to be the first person. You know, it's a real kind of leap of faith for anybody to say, yeah, I'll be the first one. And so I really just so humbled by that. And then there are some people who are kind of more known around here who will be showing afterwards. Christy Shiel, who's, I guess you would say, kind of a landscape painter, but her landscapes are very dreamy and beautiful. So she'll be showing after Claire. And then there's just, you know, I have like a year's worth of artists who are ready and able to show there. So it'll be exciting, I think.
So you've picked the artists already?
Yeah, we have about a year's worth of people picked out already. Yeah.
And
so now it's just, now that we have like we're opening, I hope, you know, barring any catastrophe, July 3rd. So the July 4th weekend, that July 3rd is a Saturday. So that'll be our opening. And then the shows will be up for about 6 weeks. So, you know, we're trying to now plug in actual dates for all the artists to exhibit.
Well, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Everybody, I'm sure everybody hopes that it's going to succeed wildly, and we'll help you with
nobody more than me. So yeah.
Help you with the marketing. So when was the last time you had a show, and when will your stuff be in this gallery? And then let's have another look quickly at the rest of your houses after that question.
Sure. So the last show I was in, I believe, was at RAG. They had a small work show. So I had a bunch of small pieces in that. And then before then they had a large work show, and I had a large painting in that, a big house painting. And then I'm also part of an artists group up here called the Ad Hoc Project. And it's just a group of us who wanted to try to show our work in, I guess, non-traditional venues, like underused spaces. We did a show two summers ago now, in Roxbury, in an abandoned, not an abandoned storefront, like nobody was using it. And so we just said, can we put our work there? And we did a show in this, like what used to be an insurance office building. And we did another show in Stamford that was like a walking tour show where the work was just in windows, because it was during the pandemic and people were going in and out of businesses. So I thought, well, let's take advantage of people being outside And so we did a show called Outside Looking In, where you could walk and see our work. And that group also has a website. So we did a virtual show this past year. So I'm just trying to kind of plug my work in wherever I can. I'm using social media a lot, so you can follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
And
well, we definitely need that in the Catskills. We need ad hoc in the Catskills. We need you to go filling empty shop fronts. And I think once you fill them, the customers will come.
Absolutely. And I think now that things are opening up more, I'm hoping there'll be more opportunities for artists to do stuff. You know, we had also talked about doing like an outside installation of more like sculptural work. Usually with this group, we come up with like an idea or a theme, and then we create work to suit the theme. And we usually do it quickly so that we don't overthink anything. So it's a really, it's a great way to work. And I really enjoy the other artists in the group. So.
Well, Amy Masters, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate this.
And I will see you at the opening, if not before.
Yeah. Would you like to see the wall of houses?
Yes, let's see the wall of houses.
Okay, now let me see. Can I flip this?
This is your studio, just to explain to viewers.
There we go. Okay.
It's one of the most beautiful studios I've ever been in.
Yes, this is my
gorgeous
studio.
The light is gorgeous.
Yeah. That's my husband. He's a great designer. So here's the wall of some of the houses. Some of the houses have actually found homes.
Oh, wow.
And are living in other places.
How many have you sold?
I have sold 1, 2, possibly 4, I think, at this point. A couple of them are going to go into that Airbnb. So this is the one that I said I stole from Fairfield Porter.
Yes, that's Fairfield Porter inspired, and I love it. It's beautiful.
And here's, I guess I don't have the Blue Boy here. I think Blue Boy is somewhere else, but this one kind of reminds me of that one where there's a figure.
Yeah.
And then I was telling you earlier about the figures that I just kind of pulled away.
Yeah.
They're like ghosty. Here's another one with figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think this one was at RAG recently. This big guy.
Yeah, that's great. So are they getting bigger or are they getting smaller?
They go, here, let me turn this around. We go back and I go back and forth. You know, it's like today I just finished like a really tiny one. So today I just did like this little guy.
So it looks from a distance like the house is missing. So you're coming out of your isolation.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And the paintings are getting smaller, so your isolation is dissolving.
They go back and forth, and you know.
Oh, we lost you. Never mind.
Oh, there we go.
Oh well, Amy, thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope I get to see you in real life soon.
Yes, definitely. Take care.